Commissioner Gershenson.
Here.
Commissioner Gingell. Commissioner Hoffman. Commissioner Jackson.
Here.
Commissioner Johnson.
Present.
Commissioner Joliet.
Here.
Commissioner Long.
Here.
Commissioner Lubes.
Here.
Commissioner Markham. Commissioner McGillivray. Commissioner Miller.
Here, Mr. Miller.
Commissioner Nelson. Commissioner Powell. Commissioner Rahman.
Present.
Commissioner Smith Charles.
Present.
Commissioner Spiz.
Present.
Commissioner Weipert.
Here.
Commissioner Woodward.
Oh, sorry, Weipert. I thought
Chair,
he
you have
called me.
quorum.
Weipert and Woodward are here. Are we good? And we have a quorum. The invocation for tonight's meeting will be led by the Honorable Penny Lubes, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you. Let us pray. We all have one hope and one God who is above all and through all and in all of us. So let us love one another. Let us bear with one another, seeing that we are members of one church. As the Lord himself said, the sign that we are his disciples is love. When Jesus departed from this world, he left us love. And the last prayer he gave us when he ascended to his Father was about love for one another. Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Lubes. Move us next to approval of the minutes from our last special meeting, July 27th. Is there a motion to approve the minutes? Moved by Commissioner Powell, seconded by Commissioner Markham. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the minutes say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Let the record reflect that the minutes have been adopted unanimously. Next up, we have approval of the agenda. A motion to approve the agenda moved by Commissioner Gingell, seconded by Commissioner Lubes. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the agenda say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. And let the record reflect that the agenda has been adopted unanimously. This evening we've got a presentation as well as a proclamations representing some very amazing people in Michigan and in Oakland County. First up, I'm incredibly honored to welcome Oakland County's Congresswoman, Haley Stevens, to be with us. We extend an invitation to all of our federal leaders to come and give updates. It's certainly over the last many years we've strengthened our partnership with Congresswoman Stevens' office. And without any further ado, please come to the podium. We are anxious to hear. Welcome back from Washington. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
Your incredible leadership of the Oakland County Commission, and thank you to Vice Chair Gershenson as well. Your partnership just means so much to me, and I have to say, looking out at this incredible set of commissioners, this just feels like a homecoming. I have so much respect and admiration and just gratitude for each and every one of you. So thank you to all of you for your dedication to our incredible Oakland County, and thank you for enabling me as your federal representative to be the person who's carrying the torch in Congress and bragging about the place that we call home. You make it incredibly easy to do because you're putting into place so many best practices. If it is around transportation, around new mobility opportunities, workforce training, saluting our police who keep us safe every day here in Oakland County, and the finger on the pulse of your individual communities. I just really want to pay my gratitude and respect to each and every one of you first and foremost. And I'll just say, for those of you who don't know, we had a redistricting year. You probably knew about that because your lines also changed. But For the federal landscape, Michigan went from 14 U.S. House members to 13 House members. And very interestingly, there are 6 members of Congress who touch Oakland County. So we went from 4 federal representatives for 10 years to now 6 representatives who touch Oakland County. But there is only 1 member of Congress who lives in Oakland County and exclusively represents Oakland County, and that is yours truly. So when Mr. Woodward talks about our great partnership, that is very much the case. And I just want to make sure each and every one of you know that my office, as displayed on the back here, is open to you and your residents and your constituents, just as I'm serving every single day here when I'm in Michigan. Our office is on Northwestern Highway, and I'm in Farmington Hills, which I believe is Mr. Miller's territory, if I still have that right. And, excited to see my friend Ajay Raman, who's representing Novi. I still have 500 people in Novi, along with, the entire city of Wixom. So again, that's our new district makeup. And I always had, for years, I had Waterford and Auburn Hills. And now we have Pontiac in Michigan's 11th district, which very nicely unites our district. And we go from 8 miles, so the Hazel Park, Ferndale, Pleasant Ridge corridor, Royal Oak is now in the district, along with Clawson and Birmingham, all of the Bloomfield Hills, which Marcia knows very well, and on. And I like to thank Councilmember Powell as well for her great partnership, because we've got a lot of exciting things cooking in Pontiac, and I know certainly with Oakland County, with the recent announcement of the relocation into Pontiac, we're excited to see that happening, and excited to make sure that you all have what you need in that regard. But allow me just to give a brief update on what's taking place in the United States Congress and a little bit of what I've been up to at the federal level. All of you are aware that last year we had some very historic lawmaking take place. An infrastructure bill got passed and signed into law. Excited to see those resources being implemented alongside this county, which is leading the way on transportation and transit initiatives on the heels of last year's vote, the countywide vote for the transit millage. We also got done, yes, I appreciate the applause, Mr. Cavell, I know you worked hard on that alongside Chair Woodward and Brendan Johnson, representing our friends at OCC and Oakland University as well. Certainly some great milestones for our students and our transit riders in that regard, because we want people to connect to training opportunities. We want people to connect to jobs as well, and that's certainly what that transit millage represented. And now we've got federal dollars that are backing up your work. So we're in implementation mode, not just with the infrastructure bill, but also with the Inflation Reduction Act. I really want to encourage all of you to partner with my office, continue to partner with your state elected officials as well, your representatives in Lansing, as well as our governor's office, because what is being implemented from the Inflation Reduction Act for the clean energy economy is transforming the place that we call home. Folks, we are number 17 for job creation in the country here in the clean energy sector, which is really quite exciting, and again, another bragging point. When I go to the Capitol and I'm voting alongside colleagues from every zip code represented throughout this beautiful nation, I'm representing our zip codes, and every once in a while I'm getting taps on the shoulder. How are you doing it in Michigan? Because you see, the resilience that came from this region in the tough days of a COVID-19 pandemic, when we had to scale back, when we were dealing with incredible supply chain disruptions, and certainly the wake-up call from our over-reliance on foreign markets. It was our automakers who stood up and rose to that industrial call to action, supplying masks and ventilators, all while continuing to innovate in the new mobility sector. And As some of you may know, I serve on the Science, Space, and Technology Committee. I was the vice chair of the committee when I was in the majority last term. I was so pleased to be able to come to this very chamber and hold what we call an in-district hearing. I had colleagues zooming in. We were talking about workforce training for new mobility opportunities, particularly with electric vehicles, and being very pragmatic about this, right? We don't want to be in a rush to fail, but we do want to be in a race to win the future. And as someone who is sitting on the select committee for strategic competition with the Chinese Communist Party, there's a reason why before we ever had our first federal hearing, I gathered Oakland County stakeholders, members of Mr. Coulter's cabinet, members from our small business community, to get a sense of what I needed to know from this region in order for us to compete and win with the Chinese Communist Party. Friends, it's very clear. You know, this quarter 21st century mark that we are, just a few years shy of hitting to the mid 21st century mark, the challenge isn't just, it's squarely not competing among, are you voting blue, are you voting red? It is, are open, democratic, capitalist societies going to lead the free world, or closed off autocratic regimes going to lead? And it's got to be open democratic societies. But that doesn't take place because we're laissez-faire. It takes place because we are strategic, we are investing in industrial policy, we are investing strategically in workforce development opportunities. And this is a charge I feel in my very bones. This is why I really, measure the partisan infighting that, I know dominates the news on a regular basis, but really is not my lived reality. As somebody who played a role in helping the president pass the CHIPS and Science Act, and that's right, we're investing in chips manufacturing in this country, $52 billion. That's a big number, but $52 billion for chips manufacturing in the United States of America, folks, it's already to date beget $200 billion of private sector investment. Things from the Inflation Reduction Act and the CHIPS and Science Act, they have paid for themselves. It's a return on investment. And at the same time, we are addressing the societal needs as well. Daycare, workforce training, inclusivity, equity, right? I heard from researchers all over this incredible nation as we were doing the science part of CHIPS and Science, which was authorizing a new directorate for scientific research, authorizing the doubling of scientific research spend in this country, bolstering our National Institute of Standards and Technologies, and researcher after researcher said, do not leave behind American talent, demographically or geographically. And this is, my friends, our microcosm and our charge here in Oakland County, because we want every student to succeed. We want every early stage career person to succeed. And it's not a platitude, it is a lived reality in terms of how we choose to fund our schools, which is why I'm working so hard alongside Oakland Schools to fully fund what is called IDEA, that is special education funding in this country. It is an unfunded mandate. For 50 years, the federal government said, you got to fully fund special ed, but we're not going to give you the money to do it. So when you look at our school balance sheet, there's a reason why sometimes we're a little lopsided, and there's a reason why our parents are feeling squeezed. Who is championing the hardworking families of our communities? I'm looking at them. It's all of you, and it is our great partnership. And I really, again, want to thank you. And as you can tell, I'm pretty fired up from the meeting I just had with Oakland Schools, because we're devising a path to go to the White House and go to the colleagues and say, how are we going to fully fund special education in this country and have true equity? and true success in our schools. I also want to give you all an update on the constituent services that we do, because you're paying for this government, your constituents are paying for this government, and part of it is the reality that it needs to work for all of you. It needs to work for the residents. And so this is why you can see in the slide behind you, the record-breaking casework, the dollars returned to our constituents. This is people calling our office with HUD considerations, with Veterans Affairs, the Social Security Administration. Sometimes we've got a passport issue because people, didn't realize their passport expired and then they decided to go travel abroad. You might have heard about that. That's been in the news a little bit. I got everyone in the district asking for a passport. We can't get you day of, all right, but we can serve as a liaison. And that's really also a beautiful part of the work that we do, that I do. My chief of staff here in Michigan, Colleen Pobar, is in the room. And again, our district is on Northwestern Highway, stevens.house.gov. So let me just say in conclusion, because I don't want to usurp this entire meeting, although it is just a real privilege and a profound honor to finally be home. We had weeks and weeks and weeks of lawmaking. I said, another part of the job is actually being in our districts and hearing from our people, which is why I was so glad to have a town hall last night in the western part of our district in Farmington Hills. But where we're eager to move forward is making sure that we are continuing to work together to effectively utilize taxpayer dollars, community-directed funding projects. This is sometimes called earmarks, is now something that we get to put in for. I'm eager to hear from all of you. We work with our local elected leaders. I see my colleague and friend Larry Gray, the Commerce Township Supervisor, here tonight. I know he plans to make some remarks, and we've been able to award Commerce Township through our congressional appropriation process dollars for infrastructure and remediation. And so as you all hear of projects, know that we are eager to connect on that as well. And then lastly, we've got a budget coming up as part of appropriations. So we put in for the community projects at the beginning of the year, and then we sort of wait till the end of the year to get them funded. And so when I return to Washington, you'll be hearing a lot about the federal budget. I'm very eager to keep you all apprised of that process, in part because we have a shared responsibility to balance our budget and to spend money properly and not wastefully, which is certainly, as I articulated from CHIPS and from Inflation Reduction Act, has been going well because the money that has been spent by the federal government has been matched double, triple, quadruple from the private sector. But we need to obviously make sure that we have a plan not to saddle our future generations with ongoing debt. And the reality is we have got to look at our next generations and build a society that is going to be investing in their needs, and if that is in STEM education and again with special ed, but also the pathway to afford to go to college or connect into workforce training opportunities. So proud of our 21st century labor movement, which is alive and underway, and I know many of you are intersecting with that here in Oakland County, and we're watching negotiations take place. None of us are at the negotiation table. But again, as someone who voted to invest in the clean energy economy, you better believe that I want our workers bought in on the deal. That's what's got to happen. So as you're seeing these headlines about labor negotiations come into play, certainly we'll be carrying that torch forward for what our organized labor movement means, and is part of the reason why, as an ongoing member of the House Education and Labor Committee, I also sit on the Workplace Safety Subcommittee. Because what we lived through
and an unknown virus that hit us, and the vaccine push, and getting everyone safe into work is paramount, but also with new technologies and new chemicals and new pieces of equipment coming into play, workforce safety remains paramount. So with that, my friends, my door, my line remains open. My admiration is steadfast and profound, and I am so delighted to see you all on the first August day of your commission convening here. Thank you so much, Mr. Chair, and I yield back.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Stay up here for a second. I just want to, on behalf of Oakland County and the Board of Commissioners, you talked about, bringing $16+ million for community projects here in Oakland County. Specifically from an Oakland County space, I want to thank you for the $2.3 million for the Oakland County Farmers Market, the renovation and innovation of that, improvement of that, as well as for our health department for lab equipment, and I believe that was north of $1 million as well. Out of that $60 million, a big chunk of that coming to Oakland County to improve the experiences for everybody, not to mention all the other special projects that are so really vitally important to the local community. So thank you for that, for your partnership. You can report back to your colleagues that thank you for the American Rescue Plan resources. Oakland County has moved those resources faster than almost any other county in the country. That's right. Yep. And the infrastructure dollars, obviously. You experienced it on the way here. We've got lots of roads to fix, and the Inflation Reduction Act dollars. I think that there is a tremendous opportunity to lean in on climate change, but also from our county in setting the goal to reduce carbon emissions dramatically in the next few years, and looking to the federal government to partner with our resources to really transform and improve everything. So thank you very much. Thank you for everything. And you are always welcome, as well as all of your colleagues, to use the chamber to bring federal business here, and if that helps increase our access to additional federal resources, so be it. Moving on, we've got 3 proclamations where we'll be recognizing 3 incredible women that make this community great. And I will first start with Commissioner Spiz. And then next on deck, I get Commissioner Hoffman, and I'll be presenting the 3rd proclamation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to invite up Kelly Westbrook, Mrs. Michigan 2023. Thank you for coming out tonight. So I'm going to read a proclamation into the record. Whereas individuals who overcome adversity and use their story as a platform for positive change bring inspiration to those in Oakland County and beyond. And whereas Kelly Westbrook, wife and mother of 2, is one such individual. After learning that she had ulcerative colitis at the age of 12, Mrs. Westbrook had worked tirelessly to show the more than 50% of Americans who suffer from this chronic illness that it is possible to maintain an attitude of joy, which I can definitely say she does, and hope, no matter their diagnosis. Crowned Mrs. Michigan on May 6, 2023, Mrs. Westbrook has been participated in pageants since she was a teen, elevating her platform of finding hope throughout chronic illness. Her recent win as Mrs. Michigan will take her to the national stage in Las Vegas to compete for the title of Mrs. America in August. Is that right? 2 weeks from today. Okay, great. Whereas Mrs. Westbrook's journey and challenges and healing is rooted in Oakland County. In 2021, Mrs. Westbrook underwent 3 separate surgeries to remove her colon and wore a colostomy bag for 9 months. 2 weeks after her surgery, Mrs. Westbrook was named the executive director of the Oxford DDA. Her achievements at the DDA include establishing the downtown trolley express between Oxford and Lake Orion, which I think many here are aware of, starting a new farmers market, awarding 10 grants to improve buildings, and installing a street speaker system. In 2022, she was recognized as a member of the Oakland County's Executive 40 Under 40. Congratulations. As an ulcerative colitis warrior, Mrs. Westbrook was invited to MC the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation's Southeast Michigan Take Steps Walk in Southfield this June. And whereas a graduate of Oxford High School, and Oakland University, Mrs. Westbrook published a blog about her colostomy journey and is so co-designing a t-shirt with Michigan-based Rise Above Apparel to benefit the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation, and is co-authoring a book titled Be Kind with Greg Ruvallo. I'll make sure I say that correctly. And whereas we join Mrs. Westbrook, her husband, who's here, and her children, and your mother, Yep, and your mother, to congratulate you on earning Mrs. Michigan crown, and thank you for your dedication to supporting those with chronic illness. Now therefore be resolved that David T. Woodward, Chairman of the Oakland County Board of Commissioners, myself, and the entire Board of Commissioners do hereby proclaim special commendation to you. Thank you. So I want to... And one of the other reasons I wanted you to come out, not only to give you this proclamation and all the great work you do, but give you an opportunity to bring out your platform and what you're looking to do and how you're going to take that forward. So with that, I'll hand over to Mike.
Okay, thank you. Well, I really appreciate it, and it's nice to see a familiar face, but it's funny, Chairman Woodward and the whole Board of Commissioners, how much I recognize all of you, not from this job, but my day job as the DDA Director for Oxford. I've been there almost 3 years. So not only the adversity that I went through having ulcerative colitis and recently going through the journey with the colostomy bag, but also the adversity that we saw in Oxford, as you will all know, and bringing our town back from that and just that journey the past year and a half and what that looks like. So our town, I just want to let you know, is doing amazing. And my mom here is actually one of those business owners in our downtown. So I really do get that firsthand scoop from the business owners. They're not afraid to tell me, but our entire community is really healing. And I'm just so proud to be a representative of them and now of Michigan. And for my, the chronic illness is so important to me. At that steps walk that you mentioned, there was a little girl there that I met, 9 years old, and sick with ulcerative colitis, and spent most of her life on Remicade, which is a biologic, and then has been told now by one of the insurance companies that she no longer can be on that medication, that she has to change because they're no longer willing to cover it. And so now I am partnering with the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of Michigan to speak on the Hill in September to really focus on making sure that all of our patients are covered with the medications that work for them and the medications that they know work for them. This little girl is now extremely ill because she's on a medication that no longer works for her. And I too went through that journey and know what that is like. So I not only want to do that for Oakland County, but also for Michigan, and hopefully in 2 weeks from now, Lord willing, as Mrs. America. So I just wanted to thank you all, and I really appreciate it.
Nice for you. We're going to come up here and take a picture.
Okay, great.
Yes, please. Please come on up. Thanks for coming. Mom and the kids too. Come on.
Yeah, she totally did.
Trick. Thank you very much.
Next, we have Commissioner Hoffman to present the next proclamation. Oh, and Commissioner Whiteburn. I'm sorry, I'm just going off another one.
Marissa, come on. You read the first.
Makes the
you read
adjustment to make
first
sure
three.
that Commissioner Hoffman and Commissioner.
So now we have Miss Oakland County. Commissioner White. Go ahead.
Wanna start out?
The first three.
So we're glad to welcome Miss Oakland County. We have a proclamation. I'll start out. A proclamation honoring Miss Oakland County 2023, Marissa Carson. Whereas we are grateful for inspiring young people such as Marissa Carson who use their limitless potential to help build a brighter future for others while also striving to reach their own personal goals. And whereas recently crowned Miss Oakland County for 2023, Miss Carson is already a highly accomplished woman at the age of 20, a native of Highland Township and 2021 Miss Spirit of the State teen title holder. She is in her junior year at Oakland Community College, where she studies musical theater at Oakland Community College, and she is also the music and youth director at Highland Church of the Nazarene. And whereas Miss Carson lives the principles of the community service initiative that she developed, Miss Oakland County competition, the importance of volunteering in her everyday life. In giving back to her community through volunteering at food banks, local events, back to school fundraisers, and mission trips is something that was instilled in Miss Carson at a young age. In the past few years, she has devoted more than 500 hours of her time to volunteering, including a service project for which she joined with students in her church group to make care kits for struggling war-torn Ukraine. And I'll let Bob finish the rest of this.
Whereas Ms. Carson's future plans include transferring to a 4-year university to pursue degrees in theater education and music. Her ultimate dream is a career on Broadway, along with a chance to perform at Walt Disney World Resort, where she can combine her love of all things Disney with her passion for entertaining live audiences. And whereas on this special occasion, we join with Miss Carson's family and friends to celebrate her incredible accomplishments and the extraordinary qualities that enabled her to capture the title of Miss Oakland County 2023. Now therefore, David T. Woodward, Chair of the Oakland County Board of Commissioners, Commissioner Bob Hoffman and Commissioner Phil Weipert, and the entire County Board of Commissioners do hereby proclaim special commendation to Marissa Carson. We wish her the best of luck in representing the county in the upcoming Miss Michigan competition.
Please tell us what you do.
Well, first and foremost, thank you so much. Being Miss Oakland County has been a dream of mine since I was very little, so to be able to capture it at a very young age in the Miss competition was truly an honor. There are many goals that I have for Oakland County, things that I've been preparing for. So my community service initiative is the importance of volunteering. Currently, right now, one of my biggest goals is to be able to integrate volunteering into as many schools as possible in Oakland County. As somebody who went to high school in Livingston County, and mine was a graduation requirement of a certain number of hours to get my degree, to get my graduation. I want to do that in so many other schools because starting at a young age is something that I did, and now it is in my everyday life. And that's something that I want for all students of all ages. It's something where you start and it becomes natural in your everyday life. I commit at least about, I would say, 5 to 7 hours of community service weekly. That's something that I want to give to the rest of the community. I want to talk to different schools in Oakland County. So if any of you guys have any connections, anything that can help me achieve this goal, it would be amazing. That would be so wonderful because then that will be able to help me get to that goal by the end of my year. Thank you guys so much.
And I will tell everybody, I got to judge this one year as being a commissioner. They needed volunteer judges. And all of these young women put in hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. They've spent their entire life getting to this point. They didn't just show up and become awarded the title. They started when they were kids, volunteering and being part of groups and 4-H and everything. So it's not an easy task. So we really thank all of you, especially representing Oakland County.
Thank you. Yeah, I started when I was 8. That was my first competition, and since then in college, now that I'm going to Oakland Community College right now, and I am currently, debt-free because of the Miss America organization. We've probably paid what? A class or two for Oakland Community College. Other than that, Miss America has paid for my books, paid for my tuition, and we really haven't had to spend a dime. So Miss America truly I thank them so much. Otherwise, I don't know if I'd have my degree. So my mom and I would be paying.
I'm going to do a quick picture.
It is, a continued testament of the incredible talent that we have here, and I have the honor of honoring Miss Oakland County Teen 2003. So if I can call on Claudia Kenny to come up here. Yeah, absolutely. An opportunity to recognize the talent of the future and everything. So I'll read this proclamation and then want to hand over the mic for you to share your thoughts with us. Whereas the power of young people such as Claudia Kenny to create transformative change is worthy of recognition, especially when they use their platform to promote potentially life-saving practices. Whereas Miss Kenny, a 16-year-old from Oakley, is newly crowned Miss Oakland County's Outstanding Teen for 2023. Through her community service initiative, the Big C, Skin Cancer is the Cancer You Can See, Miss Kenny advocates for skin cancer awareness and the importance of sunscreen to overall health and wellness. Her grandmother's diagnosis with basal cell carcinoma, the most common form of skin cancer and the most frequently occurring form of all cancers, inspired her to educate others about the dangers of UV exposure from the sun or indoor tanning on unprotected skin. And whereas in addition to her pageant and scholarship competition activities, Ms. Kenny is a junior at Chesaning Union High School, where she serves as her class's vice president. She was recognized for exemplary grades, dedication to service, and leadership potential this past spring with induction into the prestigious National Honor Society. Whereas with a passion for dance that began when she was just a toddler, Ms. Kenny now competes in all forms of the art, including jazz, ballet, hip hop, lyrical, contemporary, and tap. And we look forward to the demonstration. She and her tap team were recently awarded a national championship for their Wind It Up routine in the small group tap category. And whereas we proudly gather with Miss Kenny's friends and family, including her parents, Danielle and Brandy, to celebrate her achievements and congratulate her on being named as Miss Oakland County's Outstanding Teen for 2023. Now, therefore, myself and the entire Board of Commissioners do hereby proclaim special commendation to Claudia Kenny. We hope she continues her winning ways as she goes on to represent Oakland County in the Miss Michigan Outstanding Teen competition. A round of applause. And they don't want to hear from me.
Hello, my name is Claudia Kenny, and I am your new Miss Oakland County's Teen. I'd first like to say thank you guys so much for welcoming me into the Oakland County, because I'm not from here. I'm actually from Oakley, which is in between Saginaw and Flint, and so I'm so thankful to have such welcome and warm arms so I can continue my year of service. So I'd also like to thank the Miss America organization for giving me a platform to talk about my CSI. So my community service initiative is the Big C, Skin Cancer is the Cancer You Can See. And my grandmother was diagnosed in 2017. And hearing about that and having that experience hitting close to home really inspired me to start educating, especially youth, because it starts when you're young, to apply sunscreen and take the simple steps to make big change. Wearing sunscreen and wearing a cool hat and some cool shades are easy steps that anyone can take. at any age. So it's my mission to inform everyone of all ages to wear your sunscreen and take the simple steps to protect yourself from the sun. So some of my goals for this year are to create sunny boxes that have some things like that, whether it's a baseball hat or some cool shades, along with some sunscreen to donate to schools and all grades so they can take it throughout their summer experiences and wear that sunscreen and take those steps to protect themselves. It's also my goal to reach at least 25 classrooms in the Oakland County area to read to them a book called Sunscreen Irene. It's a book that I've read to many, many classrooms that I love reading, and it makes it fun, and it's an easy way to understand the importance of wearing sunscreen. It's something that I really would love to do in Oakland County, so that's one of my goals for the year, is to reach as many classrooms as possible. So thank you guys very much for having me today, and thank you in general.
Great, thank you. And for all you commissioners that are a little tanner than you were last month, put the sunscreen on, myself included. Let's take a picture and let's bring, is it your mom? Yes. All right, fantastic. Thank you very much. This will now move us to the, I think, do we have any other communications? Mr. Clerk? Are there any other communications? Nope, no other communications. This will move us to the first public comment of tonight's meeting. This is an opportunity to speak on any item on the consent or regular agenda. We just ask that you keep your comments to 3 minutes. They got one person who signed up, but anybody else who wants to speak, I'll just raise your hand and recognize. If you could just share your community of residents when you come up. First up, I will recognize Commerce Supervisor Larry Gray.
Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you for allowing me to come up and speak with you. Tonight, you're going to be discussing under number 10, item C, which is a contract with People's Express. We've worked very hard with many meetings with your transit team, with People's Express to come to this point tonight. This program is going to fulfill what we promised our voters for the transit. We're going to be opening the borders up for 7 CVTs, which include Wixom, Wolverine Lake Village, Commerce Township, Milford, the village of Milford, and Wixom. With this program, we are now going to be able to allow our residents to go from 7 Mile all the way up to M59, from Drake Road all the way to M23. We're really going to be opening this up, and we're able to do this at a nice cost for our residents. Also, we're going to be serving all residents, not only just the disabled, seniors, and low income. Anybody can jump on this. And if you guys pass this tonight, I think this is going to be the model that you're going to want to drive towards for the other areas that you're currently working on. I would like to thank your team, the team from Oakland County that came. I'll tell you what, Kristen Wiltfing, you guys should be blessed that you have her. She is awesome. So if you guys see her, you got to make sure you let her know. I also like to thank Eli Cooper. He's been a blessing too. Great hire, whoever hired him. Did a great job, and he's been very, very helpful to work with. The other team was Brett Ruscan and Sarah Lopacan, I believe how you pronounce her last name. I'd also like to thank the commissioners, the 3 commissioners that this will affect. Commissioner Chris Long, Commissioner Philip Weibart, and Commissioner Ajay Rahman. So again, I just ask for you for us 7 CVTs to pass this tonight, and I think you'd be doing a great thing for all our communities and all our residents. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Supervisor, for joining us this evening. Anybody else that would like to speak on during public comment on any item on the agenda? Seeing none, I will declare public comment closed, and that will move us to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the consent agenda? where virtually all of our business is. Moved by Commissioner Rahman, seconded by Commissioner Powell. Is there any discussion on any items on the consent agenda? Seeing none, I just want to echo the supervisor's comments. I'm really excited that with the adoption of the transit millage that we are inching very closer and closer to full countywide access to a base level of transit, an ability to improve and an ability to experiment and stretch availability, access to more people, and looking forward to this new model and approach to move forward. So I thank you to all the team that's been involved on that and all the members of the commission that have been part of those conversations. This is another step forward in fairly short order from the adoption of the proposal last November. Commissioner Long.
And thank you, Chairman Woodward. I just want to echo Supervisor Larry Gray. The meetings were very productive, and Kristen, and I've said in committee, was absolutely essential in getting the SMART credits back for the communities. Some of them were behind 2 or 3 years, and there was lack of communications of trying to get the funding back reimbursed. So I echo what Supervisor Gray said, that Kristen was really good working on that, and they couldn't have did it without her. So they were very good. This is very good what's in front of us today. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Smith-Charles, followed by Commissioner Rahman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I wanted to highlight the item under the portion of the agenda with the partnership agreement with the City of Oak Park for the management of Shepherd Park under LAGO, which is just to simply say that this was not without lots of heavy lifting coming from the parks membership, Chris Ward and others, really working hard with Oak Park to fortify Shepherd Park, which is very important to the residents in Oak Park. It's quite the park, and it'll eventually be about 17.08 acre portion of Shepherd Park where we'll jointly manage it. And so I'm just wanting to, again, throw a little accolade over to the Parks Group and as well as the City of Oak Park for really hammering out a lot of what might seem minute details, but to get this over the finish line. And it makes my heart glad because South Oakland County deserves beautiful parks just like North Oakland County, and this is just the beginning of that. So thank you.
Great, thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Rahman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to speak on the PEX agreement as well. It's been a long time coming, and I'm really excited that we've finally gotten here. I know transit has been something that we've been discussing for quite some time. We had the approval in November, and the fact that this is the first part of the rollout, I think, is phenomenal. I, too, want to show a lot of gratitude to Eli Cooper, our transit manager. The countless hours he and his team have spent and invested in this project have been phenomenal. I've been really, really impressed with the work they've done. And to my fellow commissioners that have been at every one of those meetings with me, thank you for all the time. And I'm really looking forward to this passing tonight and being the first step of many in transit in Oakland County. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Not to beat a dead horse, but I would also like to celebrate the PEX agreement. I know that there was a lot of anxiety over the millage when it was being when it was being formulated, and certainly when I was knocking all the doors in my community, there was angst. But I think that over the course of these last several months, we've really gotten to get a really good picture in mind of how we can synthesize our galaxy of so many transit services inside the county. I forgot, so Rochester is my nexus. I frequently will go to Lake Orion, but I forgot about the trolley that connects Lake Orion and Oxford. That is part of our galaxy of transportation services too. So adding this massive chunk of the southwest corner of our county is a huge step forward. It really fills in a big missing part of the puzzle. I hope that the city of Novi takes notice of all of the economic opportunity that will be given to them by this PEX agreement. And I look forward to the years of good transit to come. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Anybody else? Anything on the consent agenda? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, will you please prompt the vote? So close to board, yeah. Yep.
Mr. Chair, there are 17 yeas, 0 nays.
A sufficient number voting in the affirmative, the consent agenda is adopted. Next, we're under regular agenda, but we have no business under the regular because it was all taken up on the consent agenda. Good work, committee, getting it all through. Commissioner Cavell on the regular agenda? What?
Oh, well, this is just since it passed and Jennifer stayed late. Can she brag about what she just got passed out of committee? You were on your way to go? You want to talk about it? No.
Yep.
Okay.
Did you want to speak to it? Do you need to speak to it?
She stayed late, so I thought it'd be nice.
Okay. We're good. Thank you. It is adopted. You have your money. Thank you, Jennifer Llewellyn, our Director of Workforce Development. Yeah. All right, that move us to new and miscellaneous business. I think there are like 3 items. The first item is one that needs to be taken up, so I'm going to actually, can you move it?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'd like to approve and accept Amendment 3 and 4 to the purchase agreement for the purchase and lease of the property in the city of Pontiac.
Moved by Commissioner Gershenson, seconded by Commissioner Smith-Charles. Is there any discussion? And this is, I know that we had a conversation in caucus. This is more of just like moving the date to accommodate a schedule and having the means to expedite the closing of it. It's not necessarily whether you support it or not, that these are dates that are necessary to be moved. Closing date stays the same. The dates to correspond with our partners, City of Pontiac, having to move, having to have a public hearing before they can take action on the agreement. Commissioner Spiz.
Mr. Chair, just point of order. Are you moving to waive the rules for this?
Yes, yes. I'm going to get that first, yes.
I haven't heard that motion yet, so I just heard a motion.
I think Commissioner Marcia Gershenson is going to make that motion, so we'll move to suspend the rules to take this item up immediately.
Because I would expect us to get that passed before we have discussion about.
You are absolutely correct, sir.
Thank you.
So to take up this item immediately, moved by Commissioner Gershenson, seconded by Commissioner Smith-Charles, to take this item up immediately. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Nay. Mr. Clerk, even though I think the ayes have it, Mr. Clerk, can we prompt the vote on the question to take the item up immediately? I know, I know. Got it. Gershenson and
Yes.
Smith-Charles. Yep.
Mr. Chair, there are 14 yeas, 3 nays.
A sufficient number voting in the affirmative. The matters before us, moved by Commissioner Gershenson, seconded by Commissioner Smith-Charles. Now on the question, again, this is not really discussing the merit of the process of the project. This is about recognizing the dates where we are and where dates have to be moved to accommodate the schedule. So Commissioner Smith-Charles, followed by Commissioner Spiz.
Yeah, I don't think this is germane to this particular motion, but I did want to know the readout. It was 3 that voted no.
Okay.
If I could just. Yeah, nays.
Didn't you hear them scream it out? Yeah. Yes, we'll get that to you. Yes. I mean, it'll be in the record too, but one's advertising. Commissioner Spiz on the amendment. I mean, on the resolution.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chair. If I understand these amendments correctly, part of it is moving the dates for the inspection from the 3rd to the 9th, whatever. Don't really have a big issue with that. My issue is more of handing over carte blanche approval to our chair, which I believe is in the resolutions also. Why is that necessary? I don't understand that. I mean, we've called special meetings before for this topic. Why couldn't we do again if we needed to versus giving carte blanche? I mean, I'm not a big fan of giving anyone carte blanche when we're all elected officials. There's 19 of us. We should all have input if something comes up. And on top of that, if I listened during caucus, I believe there's still some questions from legal counsel on this matter with the memorandum of agreement.
It's not question.
MOA,
Well, okay.
MOA, which, I believe at our special meeting, I brought that up. Has legal counsel reviewed this? And the answer was yes. So now I'm a little concerned. Now we have to go back to legal counsel. What's going on?
Well, okay, let me address that. I'll start with the last one. Yes, Corporation Counsel reviewed this. Yes, Amendments 3 and 4 are necessary to move dates around, and there's discussion about whether or not do we really have to, since we took action on the timeline that we actually did. I think it is appropriate, particularly to give opportunity for Pontiac to have its public hearing and take action. As regarding to the other matter, and this is, we've been working with Corporation Counsel on this to make these adjustments and these amendments, again, specifically relating to date changes, relating to any modifications of the memorandum of agreement, things that speak to clarity of what we adopted, not material changes, in order to expedite this. That would be, completely communicated. We have called an incredible number of special meetings to get us through this process. We have a August 16th purchase date. That date has not changed, and particularly the seller remains very committed to keeping that, and as a county, we have agreed to stay to that. So with that time, the action by next week to be able to take, if they're clarifying questions, it authorizes the chair to make that. Substantive question, any substantive material changes would have to come back before this board.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Oh, Commissioner Switz.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for those answers. And I'm still a little, I'm going to call it disgruntled. At the last meeting, we were informed that we had to get this done. We called a special meeting, up against the wall. Here we are almost a week later, and we're still talking about this. We could have used that extra time for us all to review the information closer and ask more questions, and then maybe we wouldn't have had the hubbub we had last time, or the pushback, and maybe we got a little bit closer to something we can all agree with. So based on that, I'm still no.
Very well. Any other discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please prompt the vote.
Mr. Chair, there are 11 yeas and 6 nays.
Sufficient number voting in the affirmative. The resolution is adopted. Next, I'll recognize Commissioner Lubes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have one item. It's a resolution to approve appropriation of American Rescue Plan Act money for Oakland County Youth Assistance Coordinating Council for youth assistance programming in the amount of $500,000.
And referring that to the Finance Committee.
Mr. Chair,
Referred without objection.
I'm not objecting. I just want to add my name to that resolution if possible. I know I'll get a chance later, but usually sometimes before these, we get the opportunity. I would just like to take that opportunity now.
Does everyone want to be added to that? We will have staff add all co-sponsors unless there's someone who does not want to be supporting this incredible project. All right. Staff can do that, and it'll be reflected in the minutes. Referred without objection. And then I'll recognize Commissioner Gershenson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to introduce a resolution creating a partnership with Fern Care Free Clinic to increase health care availability for the uninsured Oakland County residents, and send this to Finance.
Referred without objection. If you would like to be a co-sponsor of this, why don't you let the clerk know?
Too, just because it's such a great
project. I'm maybe going to ask that one now publicly. But not yet. So if you want to be a co-sponsor, be sure to see our clerks before the end of this meeting, and we will make sure that you are included. Are there any other new and miscellaneous business? Seeing none, that will move us to announcements. Any announcements? See none. This will move us to our last public comment of tonight's meeting. This is the opportunity to speak on any topic, whether it was on the agenda or not. No one signed up.
Can I just make one comment?
Under public comment?
Under public
Oh,
comment.
yes, okay, sure.
Okay, well, I guess I'd publicly like to thank Dr. Ajay Raman for putting together an amazingly interesting tour today of Gliwa. Learned a lot. It was really worthwhile, and I know it went through a lot of different changes, and appreciate you sticking with us.
Great, thank you. Commissioner, I guess we're going to go back to announcements.
Sorry.
Commissioner Smith-Charles.
Thank you. Commissioner Gershenson was right on target with where I was going, to thank Commissioner Raman, of course, but to just always remind each of us how bomb a county we really represent, and how Michigan is just an amazing place to be and live, and I'm just grateful. Like, our water is the best in the world. The facility we visited, at first I was 50-50 on whether I wanted to go, but when I heard you had to have clearance to get in there, I said, now's the time. And so just all of the technology that's in there was just eye-opening and quite, impressive. So once again, whether it was the transportation, the TOC that we visited, or this place, or just all the stuff we do with parks, again, I do love what we do here.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Markham.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I also want to echo that the tour today at Great Lakes Water was very informative and interesting. But the other thing I want to remind everybody of is this Sunday at the Oakland County International Airport is our airport open house from 11 to 4, I think. Check the website, but it is an awesome event if you've never gone. Is it 9? 9 to 4? It's just amazing. You'll see equipment that you can't believe how big the stuff is to clear the runways in the winter, and they have helicopter rides, and it's just a great event for all ages, so please go.
Excellent. It's an incredible event. Commissioner Long.
I just want to piggyback too. There's also the all-women's air show.
Yeah.
Again. Right. I think that's at 1:30, but everything, didn't we get a grant? There's no parking fee, I think. I think everything's free this year.
Yeah, everything's
if I remember. I know it was last year, but I think this year it is too. So it's a good event for everyone to go. And the air show, I think, is at 1:30. It used to be. I'm going by every year, 1:30. Okay. Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you to all those on the airport committee, and it really is an exciting event. Any other announcements? Seeing no further announcements, now I'm going to move back to public comment. And I don't see anyone who wants to address this in public comment, so I will close that second public comment, and we will stand adjourned to August 17th, 2023, or call the chair. Thank you very much.